You are listening to Nerd Best Friends, a podcast that covers the nerdy conversations you're already having, or wish you could. It's the nerdiest thing you'll do this week.
This is Analese.
This is Rob.
And this is Dr. Intern Joan.
And we are your nerd best friends.
It's finally happened. I've finally traveled to the state of Oregon.
This is Nerd Best Friends, where we celebrate the conversations you're already having or wish you were. We're your nerdy companions on a quest through cosplay, comics, D&D, pop culture chaos, and all things wonderfully weird. If you're loving the ride, hit subscribe, follow, or share this episode with your fellow nerds, because the algorithm needs a little nudge from the nerd herd. Let's make Season 5 our nerdiest adventure yet. This is episode 77, and we're getting weird with our nerd travels. And we're back with Dr. Intern Joan. What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Welcome on in, Dr. Intern Joan. Thanks for being here.
Two episodes
nice
in a row.
Yeah, 2 episodes in a row.
Who'da thunk? Well, we're going to start this episode with some nerd mail.
Nerd mail.
Okay, so last week our episode was about the Long Walk Stephen King adaptation into a movie, and we had a bunch of clips on our social media and got some questions, comments, or otherwise. What I thought was really interesting is a little bit to what you were saying at the end of that episode, Rob, about like, this is not a movie you would have seen, or the comments of the people walking out of the theater like, this is the feel-bad movie of the year. I find that the reaction to this movie is polarizing. People either really like it or they really don't. And that's what showed through on the comments on our TikTok. Someone called it a mountain of mud or something like that.
Wow.
Which I thought was really interesting.
That is interesting. I mean, I think I said in the episode, like, it's a successful movie. It does what it set out to do. Like, interesting. I can't say like it's a bad movie, don't see it. I'm just saying, like, if you don't like that kind of art, don't see it, because it's uncomfortable. But you made a great argument at the end of that episode as well. So very interesting. I have not heard anybody saying, but it's a pile of mud or it's a bad movie. Like, that's pretty rough.
But that lends to the feel bad movie of the summer kind of comment, right? Like, that person was walking out of the theater. That was the initial reaction, which I think a lot of people, not a lot. I think some people are walking out saying like, this is not a good movie. And
Something I was thinking about was, we talked about the adaptations in similar genre with like the dystopian and like the teenage stuff. And it's like, that is kind of a weird genre. But when we see the movie adaptations, and we talked a lot about Hunger Games, those all exist in the young adult fiction section, not
that's a good
the
point.
Stephen King rated R section.
That's
so it could be
really
what you're
point.
expecting out of a movie like that. If all you've seen are like, the things that you like are things like Hunger Games and Maze Runner and Squid Games, I don't know, you might be very shocked to see like, oh, this is not, do I actually like this genre? Because I thought this genre existed in young adult fiction.
You make a really good point on the age that those other books are intended for, and The Long Walk is certainly not that. In fact, The Long Walk was printed under a pseudonym, right? It's printed under Richard Bachman. People didn't know it was Stephen King for a long time until he decided to let everybody know he was Richard Bachman. Yeah, Joan, do you have anything on this dichotomy of The Long Walk?
I am using my psychological mind, and I wonder, like we said last episode, it's okay to feel uncomfortable sometimes because that's what makes you grow. Like, who are these people that love it or hate it? Do you hate it because you don't like uncomfortableness and you never challenge yourself in regular life? Do you love it? Like, what is the psychology behind who loves it and hates it? Feels fascinating.
That'd be really interesting. Honestly, listeners, write to us. Find us on social media. Tell us what you liked about this movie or why you don't like it. I'm really intrigued by this as well, because there's no in between. There's no meh. It's like, I loved it or I hated it. It's nothing like the book. I don't like the ending. Or I've also, right? Like,
I could see
and there's
people,
also this, like,
yeah.
This is not a good movie. I also think about Titanic. And you know what it is for me? I remember standing in line to see Titanic back in the days where you had to stand in line to see movies, And I remember someone coming back, oh, the ship sinks, ha, 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 ha. And I kind of am seeing some of this like, oh, you're going to a movie to watch people walk. They're going to walk.
Sure.
I think it's a little bit of everything, but yeah, I'm really interested in hearing more. So people, write to us, podcast@nerdbestfriends.com.
I could see people hating it because they changed the ending and they were like, what? More like Holly woke, am I right? I bet it's a lot.
I mean, also a fair point.
Right on. All right. Well, thanks for the nerd mail, nerds. Keep it coming. Find us on social media at Nerd Best Friends. We're talking about Portland in our nerd travels for this season.
We get to talk about Portland, which is where Dr. Intern Joan lives, because I got to take a really fun, nerdy trip to Portland this summer. And what a great opportunity to just talk about nerdy things you can do in a city that people go to.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, I was out of town, so I did not get to see Rob in person with his family.
Yeah, there was like a
And
million
also,
things
I've
happening that weekend.
I've been trying to say that again.
It's like, yeah, that was a weird weekend. There were like a million things happening. There was, you were on a trip. I was on a trip. There was a football draft. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah. Let me just say that weekend that this happened, Dr. Intern Joan was like out of the country on a cruise ship in the seas and still logged in to our fantasy football draft. I was like the whole time, which you didn't see, Joan, because we were all in Discord, on the Nerd Best Friends Discord, just kind of chatting with each other and shooting the stuff while we were drafting. And I'm like, oh, well, Joan's going to be on auto draft because they're like on a cruise, blah, blah, blah. And then your thing came up and it wasn't on auto draft. And I remember asking Adam, I was like, hey, Adam, can you put them on auto draft? Because he goes, I think they're logged in. And then boom, first pick came in. I'm like, amazing.
We were sitting in the gelato shop on the first floor of the cruise, having a fancy monster gelato, drafting
while
our
drafting.
picks.
Oh, that's so good.
Yep.
Commitment. I also want to say, like, I'm so happy to be having this episode. I don't know, Joan, I've been to Portland like 5 years in a row now, I think.
Wow.
So 2020, or maybe it was 2021, maybe 4 years in a row, me and Sarah took the train from Santa Barbara up to Portland and spent some time there. And then my stepson moved to Eugene. So we go and visit at least once a year, if not twice. We've been going summer and the week of November, week of Thanksgiving, we've been going about twice a year. And most of the time making sure we get from Eugene to Portland and see Joan and, hang out and do all the things. I've been bugging Rob about going to Portland for years, since like 2021 or whenever it was, like, you got to go to these places. So I'm so happy that we're here and talking about these things. So what we did was we approached this like a top 5 list. Mm-hmm. And I know we want to talk about all the things, but 3 of us times 5, 15 things. Let's try our best to get through them. But like, let's nerd out about Portland. So I'm starting with number 5. I'll go first. My number 5. Oh, and mine are in rank order. Are yours all in rank order?
Best I could, yeah.
Best you could, yeah. Joan? Okay, perfect. One of my favorite things about going to visit Portland is that there's no sales tax.
So do you do purposeful, like, crazy shopping when you go to Portland?
Well, not super crazy because we don't have a lot of money, but like definitely we've saved up with things in mind. So like one of the first times we went, we saved up some money to go to, I can't remember if it was I think it was a Patagonia store, knowing that we were going to buy some jackets and not have to pay sales tax on a jacket that might be a couple $100. Sarah saved up for some Doc Martens because there's a Doc Martens store there. Definitely, if there are books that I want, I know I'm going to Powell's every single time, like spoiler alert on my list, but I will save up money to not pay sales tax on those. Like, I love saving up and shopping in Portland. Oh, going to Costco with my stepson and no sales tax at Costco is magical. No sales tax. I love it.
I would say that's a resounding yes. You go with a specific idea of doing a lot of shopping. Yes. That's great.
Well, and hot tip, if you ship things to me as your shipping address, I don't think you get sales tax. So if you're planning a trip here and want to buy a large item, or if you're taking the train or driving, pick up your computers or your laptops or your whatever, ship them here.
So, Joan, when you go to other places, are you like, why the hell is this so expensive?
Yeah, it's interesting because if you go over the river to Washington, there's a town called Vancouver. If you show your Oregon license, you don't have to pay tax there either.
Wow.
What?
But not
in
Seattle.
Advanced...
But it's only in Vancouver because it's so close to Portland.
Right.
What an advanced point of sale system they must have in those stores.
But then, I mean, property tax, all the other taxes are a little bit higher to compensate for the fact that there's no sales tax.
Right.
Trade-off. If you live
there is a trade-off. I remember that living in Vegas as well, right? No tax there. Unless you're a tourist, you get tourist tax. That meant the like DMV rates were higher because that's where they recoup the money for the roads and stuff. So there's a give and take. But as a tourist visiting Portland,
gold,
no sales tax. Love it.
Interesting.
What do you got for number? Oh, go ahead.
No, we could probably move on. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. Like, I know California saw a big boon in public funds when we started growing and selling weed. So don't they grow and sell weed there? Is your weed cheap as well? Because there's no sales tax on it, but there has to be some kind of tax because there's like a vice tax to go to the government. Like, how does that work?
Great questions.
Okay, cool.
I
Actually,
have no idea.
Okay, questions. And it doesn't really matter.
What about you,
that's
Rob?
a good one to ponder because it can't be federal. It has to be state. So it just depends on whether or not.
Like, is there no sales
Interesting.
tax on your weed? And then, like, what benefit are they having for selling all the weed?
Seem to think I voted on something. I mean, I put too much in my brain to remember on what the taxes would go towards, like schools or whatever, when marijuana became legal. I feel like I remember that, but Jeff will probably correct me if he listens to this.
Well, and I think it's just rolled into the price. I don't think they have a tax
Gotcha.
if you go to a dispensary there.
Because are all dispensaries government stores?
No, they're independently owned.
Well, then how?
They can't be government stores because it's still federally illegal.
But they could be state government stores. Like, think about liquor stores in Utah are all, like, state-owned.
No. They're franchise. They're
franchise. They
named
just
weird
follow the
stuff.
state laws.
Yeah, they just follow the laws.
Oh, I thought
There's
they
a
had,
whole
like...
division of the government that is in charge of regulation and stuff.
Right.
But they don't own the stores.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're still capitalist America.
Huge tangent.
Thank
Huge
goodness.
tangent.
Speaking of which, no tax. Number 5.
Before
Rob, what do
we
you got?
started the episode, we're like, hey, this is like 15 things. We need to make sure we're real snappy. And then we didn't even get through the first one. And I'm like, how does local state taxes work on vices?
That's because we're nerd best friends, and I love it. But we can
Man.
we can move on. Rob, what do you got
Terrible.
for number 5?
I put number 5 on mine, was also shopping related, and this was Powell's Books. It was a must visit on our nerd trip. It was literally, well, the second place we went. We checked into the hotel and we grabbed lunch at a nearby brewery and then immediately walked over there and spent a few hours just trying to figure out the lay of the land, checking out every floor, going to the rare book room, carrying around everything I thought I might want and all that stuff. I mean, it was so much fun to, one, go to a bookstore, because I haven't been to a bookstore in forever. They're hard to find. And two, just so much stuff. It's just gigantic, and being able to look through and seeing. I think that's part of the magic of a bookstore, is you just see things. I saw some things that I remembered, and that was fun and kind of nostalgic, and then just so much stuff I never even.
What did you buy?
I bought a number of different things. I bought this really cool thing that I'm looking forward to on the first floor. That was a craft beer, basically a craft beer book. And what it does is it's broken up by the months. So it's like the best kind of beer to drink in December, in January, in February. And then in there, it goes through week by week. So if it's like, oh, this is German beer month or something like that or whatever, it'll give you some examples of types of beer to drink each week, which I was like, this is incredible, because I just finished
your New Brew Thursday
challenge. Now I literally have a book that's a guide to a beer a week. And through the thing, I'll have 52, not just new things where a lot of times I'd gravitate towards the same kind of beer I like, but 52 completely different beers, maybe even some hard to find beers and things like that I would go to. So that was one cool thing that I got. I got a bunch of gifts for my son. Christmas is coming up in his birthday, so I'm not going to say, but some of those hard to find small RPG books, kind of like your waffle one, Joan, where it's like, oh, this is just all encompassing. You can go through by yourself or with a small group, and it's like rules light, but a fun kind of thing to go through. One of them was map based.
You
like
better
you were
not
talking about.
listen to this.
Okay,
Are you sure we're talking about it? Okay.
You're right. All right. So I got some of that. And then I got myself a really cool thing that I'm actually going to save for Nerdiest Thing this week.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
You're number 5 on later. I love Pals. I want to talk more about it later. It might be on my list and Dr. Joe's list too.
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to revisit it, or should we all pile in? No, I guess
We will.
We'll revisit.
We'll
revisit.
We will
Yeah,
revisit.
yeah. Since that was your first visit, we got your first visit vibes.
Yeah, first.
All
visit guide.
right. Dr. Joan.
Let me preface this by saying, since I live here, when I have guests, I usually solicit ideas from them on where to go, because it doesn't dawn on me that, oh, that's a thing people might want to do because I'm here.
Okay.
And there's always constantly new stuff. But I put on for my number 5, nature, because there's plenty of it here.
Lots.
I'm allergic to most of it. I hate being in it. I won't camp. I won't glamp. I won't whatever. But the classics are like Multnomah Falls and the Vista House. But if you're going to go, this is kind of into the gorge where there's big old hills and the Columbia River winds through it. It makes you feel real small when you see it. there's an outlook called the Portland Women's Forum Viewpoint, and you can kind of see Vista House, which is this old-timey, it was a comfort station when the highway first went through that motorists, Ford Model T could stop by and do their thing. Yeah, nature's great here. So if you like that sort of thing, there's plenty, but it's number 5 for me.
Well, I also say if you visit and you don't know, Joan, you actually have a decent knowledge of taking people to places that are cool like that. You took me to both of those places way back in like 2015. I remember this because this was right before I moved from Vegas to Ohio. So I came to see you, and that was when we went and saw Pitch Perfect 2 in the fancy theater, that with the reclining chairs and stuff. But you took me to both those places. They're beautiful. Yes, nature is gorgeous.
Nature.
One of the things that will make me go back to Portland sometime soon is that nature, is to see the falls, to see the forests, to see the beautiful like coastlines away from the city and things like that I didn't get a chance to do this time, but are definitely on the list of like, oh, well, when we go back soon, let's make sure that we see the nature part of the state as well.
Let's go backwards order. Let's start with you for number 4, Joan.
All right. I think we all kind of landed in this area, but my number 4 in general was food. We always take guests to a food cart pod because there's so many of them here. Downtown, wherever. They're all over the place, and there's new ones popping up. There's a recent one that was made out of an old bank, so you can go see like the vaults and the not P.O. boxes.
That's
what are they
cool.
called? You can go in and like the bar is set up by those old boxes, and so the liquor's all stacked up. And anyway,
that's
there's
cool.
one
The safe deposit boxes.
Yes, safety deposit boxes. There's one that has an arcade in it. I think I told Analese about.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, tons. There's one in Oregon City where I live called Corner 14, and my favorite food cart is Adelina's Mexican food. Shout out. Best fish tacos. Strangely bad Mexican food here. So it's pretty good. There's always the trendy donuts. Like everyone says, go to Voodoo Donuts, have a Voodoo donut, but those are touristy and overrated. I would recommend Pip's Original Donuts. They're mini donuts, and they do a ton of different things with them, like put different lemon curd or cinnamon sugar or whatever. Like and you get a free dozen on your birthday.
Oh my gosh.
Huge deal.
Excellent. The donuts we tried, I went to Funky Little Donuts, and they were also like little minis, and I got a 20-pack, and they had funny colors, funny flavors and stuff. Then we really
I've not heard of that.
Yeah, Funky Little Donuts. And they were indeed Funky Little Donuts.
Right? But tons of food here.
Sweet.
Mine was also food and drink. And specifically, the place that I visited was the Midtown Beer Garden, which was a big food truck kind of conglomerate. Just wonderful. Packed in with all kinds of stuff, from Japanese food to Korean food to Middle Eastern food to Mexican food. There was a bar in the middle where you could get beer, like a tap room kind of thing. And just what a wonderful experience. There was a ton of people there, but you could still move around and get all your stuff done. It was a beautiful day on a Saturday afternoon. The worst part about it was walking around and trying to decide what it was that we were going to eat, because there were so many choices, but super cool and different than other cities. Just a little, I don't know, cleaner and nicer, and just like it was set up. It was obviously a permanent area where they had set it up, and it was just a great vibe. The other thing that was really fun was when we do these trips, a lot of it is around craft beer, right? We're going to go to the city and we're going to visit all of the different craft breweries. One place we went wasn't a brewery. It was a tap house, but I didn't know what it was. We had walked to, I don't remember, someplace, but we were walking down the river. We were with listeners to the show, Josh and Juliana. And Josh is like, oh, you know what? We got to go down here a couple blocks. There's another brewery I want to check out. I'm like, okay. So we're walking along the river, and Maria's like, where's this place that we're going, Josh? Like, what is it? And he's like, oh, it's just up here. I think I saw you. Don't worry. And I was like, oh, that's, I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of weird. Maybe Josh is grumpy today. He doesn't want to talk to Maria about what brewery this is. But it was because it was like a surprise for me as we walk around the corner to Treebeard's Tap Room, which is a Lord of the Rings themed tap room. You see the sign, it's got the Lord of the Rings like font, on it.
Yeah.
You go to the door and it says speak friend to enter, and you open it and it's got all kinds of plants inside. It's that like forest green color with the gold lettering everywhere. There's posters about Middle Earth on the wall. There's Legolas's swords up above the bar. There's all of the furniture is like that cool found wood type furniture where it's just like, oh, this is just a slice out of a tree, all rough and covered with resin and that kind of thing. It was kind of early in the day. We had the whole place to ourselves. There were board games there. We got a little Lord of the Rings Journey to Mordor pub game and played it there, and had their flight thing. You get like the little glasses for your flight. It was this wire thing that's built up to look like everything's on a tree.
Oh, that's cool.
Like the little tulip glasses hang like a tree, and you lift it. Like, what a cool place and what a fun surprise for me. Like, I just was over the moon. I'm like, oh man, what a great surprise. Treebeard's Tap Room. I could stay here all day. We didn't stay there all day, but a cool place. I would definitely if I lived in that area, that would be my haunt for sure.
Right on. Well, I also chose food. We all chose food for number 4, it looks like. And I put food trucks done right in our box, in our chart here. But that's because what I appreciate is like the permanency of those places. And they're all usually centered around like a tap room or a brewery. And the one that Joan mentioned, we met you at that one, right, Joan? And Sarah loved the fish tacos from that place. And everyone, like my stepkids, got all different places. Similar thing right across the street. So they went across the street and they brought food back. And then we were sitting at benches that were there, like a sitting table with a overhang, and it had a little like fire pit in the middle of our table. And it was, it's just done right. But what you both helped me remember is I have not had a mediocre meal in Portland anytime I visited. Every meal is a banger, no matter where we went. Like, so easy to walk around when we've stayed closer to downtown and just find like, oh, this looks like a cool place to eat. Let's sit here and eat. And it's phenomenal food. I have not been anywhere that hasn't been great in Portland. I'm impressed every single time I go that we can't find a bad place to eat.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So
that's number 4. What's number 3?
All right. Number 3 in our snake draft order is right back to you, Analese.
Right back to me. I put queerness. Portland is very queer, and it's very queer friendly. I don't know the name of the bar, but we happen upon it every time we go and like, oh, remember this place? And we go in and maybe have a snack or have a drink, or they have some really fun, they have casino machines in there because you can gamble at the bars if it's only bars in Portland. So we'll throw like $5 in, and it's really funny to play a slot machine in the middle of Portland. And this one also has these vending machines that have like funny stuff in it. We got a bag of fun stuff, and you just open up this bag, and it's got like, it had a postcard of Pee Wee Herman and some deck of cards from 1970. Like, it just fun stuff. The queerness and the weirdness is so on point. And, as a member of the LGBTQ community, it's just very nice to know that we're safe walking around downtown Portland. And you don't get that feeling very many places. So the queerness of Portland is my number 3.
Makes sense.
What about you? What we go backwards? Oh, so what about you, Rob?
We stayed in the Pearl District and probably walked to those streets freaking every block over the couple of days that we were there. And one of the places that I really enjoyed and thought was so cool, as far as like just this beautiful, quiet place juxtaposed in the middle of the city, is the Chinese Gardens in the Pearl District. Absolutely beautiful, serene, calm from just the moment you walk in and look at the floor. It's just a handmade stone patio of gorgeousness. And however they do it, it's a walled area, but like you walk in and go around the corner and all the city noise just disappears. There's everywhere you look, there's this very specially taken care of pot with like lotus flowers growing in it, or a bonsai tree perfectly manicured. Sometimes on like the bonsai trees, they've got like little painted miniatures under it having a little scene, which of course I absolutely loved. The koi ponds, the bridges, the way they do the Chinese architecture and stuff is just absolutely gorgeous. There's a restaurant there that you can go to get like tea service. There's another area where you can go have a private tea ceremony, and one of those was going on, but like it's open. You can just kind of stand around and listen as the guy talks about, the ceremony and the different things and how it's made and what it means, the things that they grow there, the waterfalls. It's just, I saw, I think it was probably a Saturday morning when we went over there, and there were definitely people, you could tell they're members, and they just walk over there from whatever building they live in with a book and just sit and read for a couple hours and just have this very calming, beautiful, quiet experience. It was like a perfect reset for like the whole weekend of like, go. Okay, we got to go here. We want to make sure we try this, and like packing stuff in to spend a good like 90 minutes at that place, walking around, seeing everything, and then just like sitting and enjoying it was absolutely perfect. Chef's kiss.
You got to add the Japanese gardens next time you come, because then on a bigger scale, you're going to
Absolutely will.
Absolutely
will.
All right, Joan, what's your number 3?
Lovely. I said sports. Like, these are just big general categories, but we have my favorite. I'm wearing my Portland Winterhawks jersey.
Yes.
That is our Western Hockey League youth team, 16 to 25.
Okay.
It's very fun to watch those games. They're very family friendly, and you'll see a lot of people in the NHL that you get real excited about. Cam Neely came through here and played on the Winterhawks. Aiden, the goalie for the Golden Knights, Aiden, whatever his name is, he came. Anyway, it's fun to just watch these kids grow up and go on to do what they're going to do. Jeff loves going to the MLS, the Portland Timbers games, and soon to be 2026, we're going to have our WNBA team, the Portland Fire. So
that's
very
going to be
excited
cool
about what sports will bring to Portland.
That is interesting because a lot of the places that I went to, I would see jerseys on the wall or like sports team hats and things like that. But then thinking about it, for whatever reason, Oregon or Portland they don't have a Major League Baseball team. They don't have an NHL team. They don't have a football team. So it's like, I guess, I know college is really big with Oregon, but
we don't talk about that
here.
No?
There is a proposed MLB team.
Really?
I think, what's his face? Russell Wilson is behind wanting to build an MLB stadium here.
Yeah.
I've seen the plans. So that is in the works. Stay tuned.
Just like Vegas, I think there's just been reasons why people have stayed away from Portland. But what Portland and the state of Oregon has done is really shown that they can support teams, and that's the same thing that happened with Vegas, right? Like before the Raiders got there, before the A's decided to move that way, they started with a WNBA team. So even before the NHL had the Golden Knights, WNBA opened up the Aces there, and they were the first pro sports team, and Vegas got behind them so hard that then here came the NHL, then here came the Raiders, now they're getting all the big pro teams, and I do think that Portland's on the way to being very similar. I think we'll start seeing, especially once the WNBA team gets there, and I know the people of Portland are going to back this team 100%, because one of the areas that I think is on some of our lists is right next to the Timber Stadium, and you can see pictures of how packed it is every time there is a home game. So I think we'll see that growing.
Absolutely. And I can't forget to mention that we do have an NBA team, so we have them and the Timbers. The Trailblazers and the Timbers are the two teams. But I don't like men's basketball, so I tend to forget about them.
So you're going to be a season ticket holders for the WNBA team?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the money to come out. I signed up to be notified on the list.
Yes.
We'll see.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. That takes us to number 2, and starting in reverse order. Dr. Intern Joan, what's your number 2?
Beach.
The
coast in the Pacific Northwest is unlike any other kind of coast anywhere else on the coast. I got to highlight Cannon Beach. That's your opening scene of the Goonies with the Jeep driving by the big haystack rock.
Yeah.
Just going out there and seeing when the tide's out, you can see all kinds of tide pools. You can see puffins on the rock. Last time there was an animal on the rock. I don't remember what kind of 4-legged animal was on it, but you can always see something, and the hotels are right there. So you got to bring, right? It was a chupacabra. So you got to bring your binoculars.
It was a chamucos.
Right?
You're a chamucos.
There's another beach
your mom's
called
chamucos.
Newport Beach.
Dorothy Mantooth is a saint. A saint.
Sorry, Dr. Joan, please continue.
It's okay. There's a Newport Beach, not the Orange County, Los Angeles Newport Beach, but there is one of my favorite hotels that's remodeled, and we don't know how we feel about it because capitalism, but it's a literary themed hotel. So each room has a different vibe. And I love going there because the 3rd floor is a library and it has windows and you can just sit and read and look at the ocean.
Cool.
So the coast is great.
Now, Joan, this is a different beach experience than where we grew up in Southern California, right? This is not like sitting and tanning and surfing and getting in the water, because the water is pretty cold.
I mean, people do it, but it's cold.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's often windy and rainy. So I look at it, but people definitely do want to have the beach experience. So there's bathing suits and, kids in the sand and everything.
Yeah.
The times previously when I've been
Just
to Portland, it's always like summer vacation time, right? So the weather's usually great. Even if it's a little overcast, I'm not getting that wind and the rain. And some of those trips have involved like big road trips up the one and along the coast all the way up to Canada and stuff. And when you hit that Oregon coast and you're seeing the beautiful tall green trees and the pebble beaches and the cliffs and everything, it's just absolutely gorgeous.
That's my favorite drive from Ukiah to here to Eugene, is through the coast. It's a little bit longer, but there's a perfect halfway point. But we'll just take 2 days. We'll add 2 days to just drive up the coast side and stop wherever the heck we want, especially when we have our dog, and just walk the beach and let her run around and find a nice place to eat. And like, it's so gorgeous between redwoods and then you hit that Oregon coast. Oh, it's so good. And then we always take the quick down the 5 back just to get back home sooner. But man, it's gorgeous. That's a good call.
The coast.
Heck yes. Rob, what's your number 2?
My number 2 was the barcade. It wouldn't be a Nerd Travels episode if we didn't go visit a barcade. And so Ground Control was the place that we went. What a fun time. What a perfect barcade experience. It's 2 floors. It's like 3 different big rooms, full bar, lots of craft beer pours, really easy to access. One of the things that I love the most about it, really, like, it's kind of silly, but like you walk in and there's a bunch of lockers because it's like, they know you've been walking around all day. Like, we had tons of stuff, right? It's like somebody's got their backpack. We got a water bottle. We actually didn't know there was going to be a locker. So that was when we had picked up the giant box of funky little donuts. So we scarfed our donuts before we went in, but I could have just put them in that little locker. Like, so that was like super convenient. I'm like, how come all places don't have these little lockers like
Smart.
this?
Yeah.
So much nicer of an experience. And there was just plenty of places to sit and like take a break and watch things on the big screen. They had tons and tons of games and like both old and new. So Josh, who we were with, was just over the moon with all of the retro stuff that was there. I mean, you name it, like it was Centipede, it was Joust, it was Galaga, like all of the old 80s stuff. And then a bunch of brand new stuff. The Dungeons and Dragons pinball game was there, which is new.
Isn't that game
and I played
amazing?
a ton of that. Had so much fun. Remember the old 4-seater Ninja Turtle game, like the Turtles in Time from back in the day? They've re-released that game with like better controls and graphics. We played a ton of that. It had the 4-player Pac-Man, like cocktail, oh my gosh, just so much stuff. The upstairs was all pinball, like 2 bars. It was awesome. We went into that place, and again, it's a barcade, and it's one of the ones that's like, it's dark. There's a lot of like neon lights, and that's kind of the vibe of it. All of a sudden, it was 4 hours later, and we had no idea. Like, we walked out and the sun was down. What happened?
I'm glad you put this in. It did not make my list, but for no particular reason. This is a must stop for me every single time. And we found it on accident. I know I told this story in a previous episode, but the quick version of it is we were there for my birthday on one of the trips, and Sarah had surprised me with like a boat, like an extreme boat ride on the waterfront. And when we were done with that, we were sitting and having a snack. And there was a little advertisement on the table for a pinball competition, what are they called? They're not called competitions. Tournament, a pinball tournament.
Sure.
And it was on my birthday, and it was $5 to enter. And I'm like, this is serendipitous. We have to go. So we jumped in a lift and got to Ground Control. And since that day, it's been a must stop. So I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you had a good time. I wasn't overplaying how awesome it was now that you know, because I do tend to exaggerate.
It's
but like
the best one I've ever been to.
Ever been to
like
yes.
a good 3 or 4 of them, in different cities. Like, this one is
It really
amazing.
is. It really is. And that was the one where I entered the pinball tournament. It's the only one I've ever been in, and it was fun. And as it was winding down is when our friend Kim just popped in all of a sudden randomly.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, what are you guys doing here? And they were like, what are you doing? It was just random meeting of friends of ours. So yeah, it is so fun. Ground Control does such a good job. And my favorite thing, I think it's still there if you didn't catch it, but next to the lockers, they have one of those old vending machines where they used to have like the sandwiches. So you'd like pay and push a button and slide the thing over, and you used to be able to like get sandwiches out of it. But they have T-shirts rolled up. So I have a shirt from them because I had to buy one and open up the sliding thing and you pull out your shirt. So I have a Ground Control shirt and I love it.
That's cool. I don't remember that being there. I think it was actually one of the like really modern ones, like you see at the airport when you get like charging cables and phone cases and a T-shirt and stuff like that. Unless it was right next to that and it just was overshadowed by like the bright light of the modern one, so I didn't notice.
Or it could have went bad and they bought one that is more reliable because that was, I love Ground Control. That's a good pull. Well, I'm glad you brought up Ground Control because my number 2 was, I was choosing between the 2 of them, and I went with Mox and Mox Boarding House, which is actually a little chain. They have a few different stores other places. I've not been to any other one. Found Mox on accident because I was at Powell's buying a board game with Sarah, and someone walked by and was like, "Oh, have you been to Mox? If you buy that, if you're going to go get lunch, if you just go 2 blocks this way, down this street right here is Mox, and you can get lunch and you can open your game and you can sit there and play it. And I've never heard of this before. Let's go. We're going to do lunch anyways." We found Mox, and this is also a must stop. Every single time we return to Portland. Mox is a giant restaurant/game store.
With really good food, by the way.
With really good food.
Food was good.
And it's in sections. So when you first walk in, you're in a game store that has just a giant selection of all kinds of games. Again,
no joke, one of the biggest game stores I've ever been in. And that's just like the front little part of it.
More walls of army painter and contrast paints than you can ever see anywhere. More brushes. They have a whole giant area of just Warhammer and tables set up with Warhammer scenery. And sometimes there's people playing, sometimes not. Like you can like reserve those tables and play games. And then they have a whole section of rentable games if you want to just sit and rent a game. Then they have a whole room that's just for card sleeves. And there'll be people in there sleeving their stuff and buying card sleeves off the wall, packages to move. If you're an MTG player or a big card game player, they have the box, like storage boxes, and they're in there organizing their stuff. Then there's a whole room of just long wooden, beautiful tables that's to reserve to play games. And if you go there in a busy time, you're just going to see these tables full of people playing a bunch of different games. Then they have a bar and restaurant section that you can also play games, but know that there's food served and you can have drinks at your table there. And the food is phenomenal, and their tap section is phenomenal, and it's never a bad time when you go to Mox Boarding House.
I had such a good time at Mox Boarding House. I'm just going to like hijack and go next because my number one is Mox. Everything you said and more. Just so cool. I found even more different obscure little RPG games and things to buy at Mox than I did at Powell's. The customer service was fantastic. Walked in. I told them, I was like, "Oh, this is our first time here. We've been really excited. I brought my old board game to play because I flew with a game to play there because you had told me about the experience and I was so excited about it." So we were walking around and just looking at everything. We went to, the other thing is by that card sleeve, there's a big bank of computers set up. And as the day was going on, there were like little kids at these computers just like forever, like for an hour. They'd be sitting there. I'm like, what are those kids doing? So I kind of chose over there. They have such a huge Pokemon card collection that kids will sit at these computers and scroll through a Pokemon card catalog and mark the ones that they want. And then they get a number, they take it to the counter, and the counter has like whatever their library system. They go into the back room and they pull all the singles that these kids have put together. And it's basically, and they'll come out and be like, okay, that'll be $128 for your 20 cards that you chose or whatever. Yeah. And so that thing was packed full of kids and like kids waiting in line to do that Pokemon card catalog system, which was phenomenal.
So that wasn't there the last time I was there, but they were under renovation. So I bet they were like setting things up for that.
It's real clever how they did it. It was like number 826 and some little girl will go up to the counter with her mom and they have their Pokemon cards and she had spent an hour and 20 minutes like shopping through.
Oh my gosh.
We went, like I said, we had our game and that was super awesome. So we took one of my favorite fun party games, which is Marvel United. And this was, like Fantastic Four had come out. We were all excited about that. So Maria had painted the Fantastic Four, expansion set. And I had the big neoprene mat all folded up and tucked in my backpack and the box with all the stuff and like all the cards so that we could go play this game that we love because it's, there's 4 of us. It's the Fantastic Four. It's going to be great. So we went over we were like, yeah, we want to get lunch and we want to play this game. So they're like, cool. And they take us over to this booth and I like bust out from my backpack this giant neoprene mat and I put it on the table and it's too big. It was like hanging over the side. Oh man, there's not going to really be enough. I don't know if you guys have like bigger tables. He's like, all our tables are the same size. And he goes, oh, we could do this. And dude disappears. He opens up the wall and inside the wall, there's all these like table topper things for wargaming. So he took us over to that big room where you were saying all the long tables were. It's this huge thing of particle board all covered with felt and slaps that down on there to like make the table a tremendous amount bigger. We put our thing down there. We ordered lunch. We ordered a bunch of drinks. We played 2 game throughs of the Fantastic Four Marvel United game. People were coming over. They were checking out the painted minis. They were giving Maria compliments. We were just having a great time. And yeah, that room started filling up with a lot of people playing Magic and a lot of people shopping. Just the customer service was amazing. Everybody was super friendly. And how awesome was it to be like, we're playing the game. And it was like, ooh, you know what? There's like a lot of like drinks and foods around here. You know what I should do is sleeve all these cards. Let me just walk over here, pick up the sleeves,
Boom.
Go buy them. And then we started sleeving them right there as we were playing. The other thing is it has like little punch out chits. And Juliana goes, oh, you know what I saw? They have these little chit cups with lids. Let me go pick those up. And she goes over and buys little game accessories and we start using them right there at the table. Like we were suckers for it. We had such a good time. It was my number one, my number one thing to do. I will always, every time I'm anywhere near Portland, I will just spend a day shopping, playing a game, having a good time. Like there could not have been a more Rob store than Mox Boarding House. Just incredible.
I've been trying to tell you this. Like
you were right. I listened. I was excited. I was going. I packed a game and took it on a plane and everything to go play there.
But does that not now change your idea of our fictional comic book store into more of a Mox style? And what you said is totally true. It's the atmosphere there, right? The employees are excited to work there. They're super nice. The servers are really great. They'll give you great food recommendations. And the people that go, everyone's common nerds, so they'll come and talk to you about your games. I was playing a choose your own adventure game with Sarah the first time I went, and people were like, oh, tell us about this game. Is it good? And we're like, well, we just started it, and it's a lot of reading, but it's really fun because it's just like the choose your own adventure books when we were kids. And everyone there is just super happy to be there. And again, you never go wrong with the food in Portland, including at Mox. And maybe next Nerd Travels is going to the other Mox boarding houses. There's 3 or 4 of them total. That might be a cool thing to do. Mox, sponsor us. We will come and make lots of social media content for you.
Yeah,
such a good call.
Just retire early and have a full-time job working at a Mox boarding house, and that'll be how I fade off into the sunset.
We just open one somewhere where there isn't one, Rob. Honestly, let's franchise, baby. Let's franchise. That's such a good call. That was my number 2. Everyone got through their number 2s. So, Rob, you parlayed that into your number 1.
Yep.
And
you two have the same number 1.
Yes. I just want to say strong agree. If you do nothing else when you visit Portland, if you are even a slight nerd, go to Mox Boarding House. You will not be disappointed. Even if you just go for lunch and walk around and see the gigantic game store and the most paints that you will see on a wall anywhere in the world. Citadel wall that goes up above our heads.
It's funny though, the one thing that Josh wanted was speed paint metallics, and they didn't have them.
Oh, no. They won't have the specialties, right?
They should. They had everything else. It was just funny.
But any brush. I've bought more brushes from Mox than my friendly local game store. Also, that little rubberized thing that sticks to the bottom of my water cup that's got the little nubs on it. I got that at Mox because I've never seen it anywhere else. Just so good.
I'm thinking this too. There's a really good game store. It's not a Mox by any stretch of the imagination, but next time we meet up, maybe we meet up in Santa Clara and go to the one there together.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm just gonna keep
More Nerd Travels. Yes, Santa Clara. You got it. Hey, you got to tell me if you want to go to the 49ers game in Santa Clara in December.
Shoot, that's right.
Because I have the tickets. Okay. And we can definitely make that a thing. We can talk about that. We can talk about it later. But that nerd travel possible for both of us, that would be our first NFL game. So content to heavy. And also, if there's a nerd store there.
Yeah, it's great. We love it.
Easy peasy.
All right. Money.
Okay. So you parlayed that into your number 1, Dr. Intern Joan, and I have the same number 1, Dr. Intern Joan.
We have the same-ish.
Same-ish. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it's Powell's. This is also a must-stop for me. There are some staples that I get every time I go because they're so good at local things local to Portland. So there's some soaps that me and my partner really love that we'll pick up a couple every time we go. I usually get something that's themed, whether it's a mug or a shirt or a bag. I always get something that says Powell's on it. And what I really love more, just being a reading nerd, is they do such a good job with how they set everything up to expose me to books that I might not have ever seen before, and they do it different than any other bookstore. And I can't quite put my finger on it because every bookstore has like, here's our employee recommendations, and that's kind of helpful. But just the way their store is set up lends to you spending time there and really looking at things. And I love the little cards where like, this book is blah, blah. If you like this, you will enjoy this book. Like just the way they do it is so good, so thoughtful, and gets me to buy like a same thing. I carry around the little basket full of things that I want, and I have to stop and like slim it down because I can't spend $600 on books in that moment. But yeah, the way they're organized and just it's a city block of books, and you can never go wrong at any bookstore, but definitely with a visit to Powell's, you can never go wrong. But Joan, you says yours is a little different. Tell us more.
A little different. I would say if like when people choose what they want to do, they want to go to Powell's. I go there when guests are in from out of town because it's far away from me. I don't want to go to downtown. I'm a curmudgeon, get off my porch. I've been trying to explore more local bookstores because there are more genre-based bookstores jumping up, like romance, like whatever, like here and there. There's a horror bookstore just opened up in Portland. So there is a specific one called Spoken Word Books. It's very queer. It's very welcoming. They have a good buy-sell credit system that I really like. And it's in downtown Milwaukee. Downtown Milwaukee is the best downtown I've been in. And I like that kind of vibe. You can walk to different stuff. There's different foods, whatever.
Wait, there's a Milwaukee in Oregon?
It's not spelled the same way, but yeah. Milwaukee.
Huh.
I-E, not E-E. Anyway,
so
they converted.
Is that a different, wait a minute. So is that, because Milwaukee is named after the indigenous people's tribe that was in that area. Was there another independently called Milwaukee people in that area on the Pacific Northwest?
I mean, most probably, but I don't know. You're asking the nerdiest questions I've ever had about us.
Well, we know from Wayne's World
maybe
that
they
means
migrate.
So
maybe they
also
migrated west and spelled their tribe wrong once they got there. Like there's
no, I don't think they did that. I think the languages probably have similarities, and the way they spelled Milwaukee, meaning the good land, and the way on the other coast they talked about Milwaukee on the good land, it probably means the same thing, but they were different. I'm fascinated.
We're gonna have to figure this out.
I am now gonna look it up when we're done because I enjoy that.
Heck yes.
Downtown Milwaukee, they converted their city hall into a local brewery here, another location, so you can go have a beer in the Milwaukee's room where it happened.
That's awesome.
Dark Horse Comics is located in downtown Milwaukee, so you can walk through these display cases and like you see a gigantic alien or predator. Or, I don't know the whole entire catalog, but you can look at their displays. And then there's a comic book store that's associated, so you can go in and look at comic books. There's antique stores. There's just, it's a good growing little area with food and fun stuff to do. But that Spoken Word Books is my new favorite independent bookstore that's close to me that I frequent. So books in general in Portland, yes.
Howls when you have guests, spoke and word books when you are just being DIJ. Love it. That's our nerd travel list, friends. I know there's so much more that we can say about this, but what I think should happen is that we get with Mox and do a live show from Mox for our nerd best friends. And we'll figure out how to travel craziness.
I had such a good time. I mean, we were there for a nerd trip, right? So craft beer and nerdy stuff and bookstores and stuff. We were there for 2.5 days. And man, I mean, I never was not having fun. It was so cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
That is amazing. And there's more you didn't see, obviously. And it always changes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back at it this week for our nerdiest things. Let's start with you, our awesome Dr. Intern Joan. What is the nerdiest thing you did this week?
We're going to talk about books again.
Okay, let's do it.
We'll do it. There is a lot of news happening, and I limit my exposure to current ongoing events, but I try to read and intellectualize so I can kind of still understand the bigger picture of things. That's one of the nerd things that I enjoy. I just read the memoir of a woman who worked at Facebook and really painted this transparent picture for me of how bad it is from an HR standpoint to politically and worldwide, how bad it is. Blew the lid off of it. And I was like, I want to get rid of my Instagram now also because it's all part of the same thing. But it was horrible and eye-opening.
Wow.
It's called Careless People. So if you're
Careless people?
Careless People. So if you're by Sarah Wynne. So if you're even remotely interested in feeling uncomfortable, do it.
Yes, everyone should read that and know how bad their social media is. It's funny because, like, especially with, Nerd Best Friends, is like, it's a necessary evil almost for us to, like, we need to promote, we need to be on there. And, like, no secret, Dr. Intern Joan does a ton of that work for us. Like, that's the joke of why we call her the intern, is because she's doing all of that behind the scenes. So for you to be so intimately familiar with the behind the scenes of, like, we have to have this many posts a day, we have to post things at certain times, we have to post the different demographics at the different days of the whatever, and then to even go further and do research on it, it must just be twisting you up inside.
It's fascinating.
Wow, I'm gonna have to add that to my list, Joan.
Do it. All right, that was my nerdiest thing.
Thanks for bringing in that bummer, Joe.
No, it to me wasn't a bummer. It's like, where am I going to fit this book in? Because I'm going to have to now. I'm going to have to.
Listen
it's
to
be
it.
A must.
It's better to, because the author reads. I love it when authors read their own books, but you can hear her inflections as how her tone is like, duh, Mark Zuckerberg's an idiot. Like, just her tone as she talks about certain things. It's pretty great.
All right, adding it to my list. I love it. How about you, Rob? What's the nerdiest thing you did this week?
Okay, so I had mentioned it was something that came from Powell's earlier, and this is not sponsored content. I'm just so impressed by this little thing. I got this little box, and it's little. I just measured it. It's 9 inches and 2.5 inches tall, right?
Okay,
and this
it's
is
a little
for
box.
a game called Cairn, Cairn, and this is their second edition, Cairn second edition. There's an entire role-playing game in this box, and wait till you see this. It's like a magic show. So 2.5 inches tall.
That's a little box,
whatever. Just a little tiny box. Open up this little box. In this box, you get the Dungeon Master's Guide, which is a thick,
probably half the box,
with like 3 adventures in it. It's 190 pages, everything you need to teach you how to play, and it's laid out really well. I actually love it for any RPG game, as it gives you these like total like examples of like how to design adventures with nodes and plot lines and different settings. Wow. Absolutely like super, super, super well done. And then in this little box, it gives you 3 players' handbooks for your players. Not 1, not 2, but 3 full-on players' handbooks with all of the details of all the cool like classes you could play. These things are 87 pages each. There's 3 of them in there, 1 for every player, that you got.
Okay.
And in this little box,
but wait, there's more.
Character sheets. There's a whole pad of character sheets in there, and they're beautiful and all decorative and cool looking, right?
Those are pretty sick looking.
And
wait, there's more.
You get an entire adventure campaign module book. This is in here as well. This is another 63-page book.
Gosh.
And you get another adventure to play in this book for your Dungeon Master. This is a little 23-page adventure. And save the craziest for last. You get an entire Dungeon Master screen.
Look at that screen.
With all the stats, everything on the thing.
Cool. All of that fits in that little box.
Is that incredible?
That's wild.
That is incredible to me.
That's
what
wild.
An amazing, and it's all just great. It's so fun and cool, and it's very like we call like Dungeons and Dragons would be like high fantasy, where everybody's like a superhero and they have all kinds of magic powers. This is more of a low fantasy, which I really like. Like the classes that you get to play are things like a watchman, a kettle wright, a fungal forager, a cut purse. There's one, then there's like a barber. Like you're just kind of a low fantasy dude. And then you get to go on all of these adventures. It sets up really fast. I mean, the character sheet is like 1 page right here, and it's like super cool. You got 3 stats and some weapons, and you go. Just a super, super cool game. The Dungeon Master Guide is one of the best I've ever seen, and it all just came in this little tiny box.
That's crazy. And you found that at Mox.
And I got that at Powell's.
Oh, at Powell's.
Yep.
Very cool. Have you played it yet?
I haven't played it. I don't have a ton of playing time right now, but I have been reading it and going through, and just whenever I kind of need a quiet time, which is a lot of times, like I'm on a screen so much, like it feels like 16 hours a day I'm staring at a computer screen. So I've been trying really hard to make sure I find time in the evenings to like do my painting with like no screens on and like reading books and stuff. So whenever I can have a little quiet time or whatever, I've been flipping through the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Guide, and they're excellently done. Awesome. Haven't played it yet, but man, and I don't play a lot of stuff. Like I'll buy games and RPGs just to read them and get ideas and enjoy them for what they are. But this one, maybe we will, because it seems like pretty quick to pick up.
Well, you
So
said,
yeah, that's the nerdiest thing I did is I've just been geeking out over Cairn.
I love it. You said some keywords that meant something to me. I learned in book genres, I do not like reading high fantasy. I like low fantasy. So maybe that's another one of my gateways to these things is knowing the different levels of them.
Ooh, well, maybe when we do get around to playing, Dr. Joan gets to play like a kettle right in some miserable little fantasy town and go on a little adventure.
Maybe I will.
Perfection.
All right,
All right,
Analese.
Analese, what's the nerdiest thing you did this week?
All right. So, nerdiest thing I did this week, I am still on a Stephen King audiobook kick for books that I've read however many years ago. Currently am listening to Dr. Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining, in which the little boy in The Shining is now a full-grown man with all of his traumas and how he deals with having the shine. And it's such a good book, and I forgot how good it was, but I am re-listening to that or rereading it through the audiobook to prepare for Spooktober and watching scary movies every night with my partner. And we're going to start with The Shining and Dr. Sleep this year. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm listening to audiobooks as well as, which I mentioned last week. I'm alternating between Buckingham Nicks album and Dr. Sleep. So depends on what my mood is in the morning. But Dr. Sleep is actually scary. It's like scary. We talked a lot about The Long Walk and how that's not like typical horror. Dr. Sleep is like scary and good. And that's what I've been doing is listen to audiobooks.
There we go. And of course, what's the nerdiest thing you've been doing, listener? We would love to hear from you. And I'm about to give you all of the information right now because next week on Nerd Best Friends, we suit up for our first superhero spotlight of the season. We're doing Daredevil. Get ready to dive into the gritty streets of Hell's Kitchen and nerd out with us. So hit the follow and subscribe button. Drop us a 5-star rating if you're feeling the nerd love. Find us on social medias at Nerd Best Friends or email us podcast@nerdbestfriends.com. Help us grow the nerd herd and keep that geeky goodness rolling.
I'm so glad, Rob, that you finally got to go and be nerdy in Portland. I'm so glad, Dr. Intern Joan, you rejoined us for this episode to give us some insight since you've been living out there for quite some time now. And we're just going to have to travel back and keep being nerdy.
Gosh, could you guys imagine the 3, 4, 5 of us at Mox having all good old time playing Cairn?
I can imagine it very well. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. All right, listeners, thank you. We'll see you next week.
Keep Nerd Best Friends weird.
Adios.
This is like my 3rd time in the state of Oregon, but cool.
And you live to tell the weird tales.
Because the algorithm needs a little nudge from the nerd herd.